Hello my friends, this is Chaos Angel, also known as Lord of Omni. We are moving into the next video for the battle system changes of Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood on Dark Knight. We are first going to take a look at the changes, or typically looking through the tooltips in Ms. Tech's video, which we have right here. The link will be in the description. Go ahead and take a look at it. Give her a like, give her some love, thank her for what she has done for us, and we shall go ahead and delve into this right now. Dark Knight is actually the one I'm pretty interested out of all of the other tanks in comparison, because of the blood weapon gauge, or the black blood for what has actually been officially translated for the name of the gauge, and exactly how it works. Many people have been speculating on whether it works completely separate from MP, or it goes along with MP, or works with MP, or something of that nature. We have no idea, but we're going to go ahead and have a good look on what this gauge truly does. Like, what are we able to do with it? What are we supposed to manage here? Because I, for some strange reason, have been hearing that we are going to be doing a lot of management on Dark Knight, but in all honesty, I was already doing that to begin with when I was maining Dark Knight in Heavensward, so just adding on top of that, it's not really going to change much for me. But we shall see. We shall see. Let's take a look, see what the changes we got here for. Alright, so we got hard slash. Nothing new in there. Damage has not been increased whatsoever, and of course shadow skin has been removed. Actually, you know what, let me take a look, see exactly how much has been consolidated here. So pretty much hard slash, spinning slash being next. That's still level 4, and then oh my god, no, my Scourge. Oh no, you had no. Why'd you get rid of my Scourge? It's gone. Practically one of my most favorite freaking Dark Knight animations. Probably, most likely second before Living Dead. Oh, wow, with Reprisal being third. Wow, I cannot for the life of me believe this. They removed my Scourge, man. I don't know how to feel about that. Why would you feel the need to remove that? That did not need to be touched, man. Okay, so I guess so that's been taken away from us. And has been Unleashed has been placed for level 6. Siphon Strike is level 10, where Low Blow is, because all of her stuns have been removed. And of course, Reprisal, and actually Blood Weapon is still where it was already. Where's Power Slash? Power Slash is still the same thing. Unmend still 15. All the other stuff is still the same, especially Blood Price. We don't have Dark Dance because there's no freaking parry stat, so that's practically useless. I'm still on the fence on the fact that my freaking Scourge is gone, guys. I am still on the fence of that. That, like, okay, let me see here. What can I say? What can I say to this? The reason why I feel that way is just like, in comparison to freaking Warriors Fracture, like, shit, there's so many aspects on freaking Scourge being so much better. I mean, Freaking look at the potency. The potency is literally 40 over time, and it's 30 seconds. And then at the same time, it's 20 freaking TP lower. So I'm just like, why? Like that's a good damage over time skill. That is actually a godsend of a freaking damage over time skill. And then on top of that, it has a nice freaking animation. Like the very look of that is what freaking amazes me. Rip Scourge, guys. Rip Scourge. I wanna just give me this moment and just place hashtag Rip Scourge. Yep. Anyway, let's continue on. I've paused the video for quite some time. We're gonna go ahead and quickly go through this. Spinning Slash, Unchained, Unleashed. Potency has gone down. Why? Again, why? What need was there for Unleashed to be, I'm sorry, you are going to... What is this bullshit? No. Go back to that. Okay, please tell me that is like only based on just the amount of MP you have due to level, and this is like based off of a level 70 Dark Knight, because that MP cost is stupid. That has to be based off the actual level, because that right there is a stupid number. They not only have lowered the damage on Unleash, but they also increased the MP amount. That wouldn't make any sense to me. This, I'm already not liking the changes so far. What? Oh, wow. Yes, Siphon Strike has been changed. It is pretty much gotten to level 10, which is actually pretty good, I guess. Sort of. The unmanned trait has been removed, and essentially you automatically already have that trait immediately. The blood weapon. Okay, so the blood weapon thing is what increases the black blood gauge. But the thing is that what I see here, we don't get the black blood gauge until level 62. And there doesn't seem to be any changes to blood weapon at all, other than the fact that clean weapon, the trait that was used for blood weapon, that in itself has, I do believe that one has been treated the same way as everything else, where it's automatically just been placed onto blood weapon regardless. Yeah, the recast time has been automatically placed for 40 seconds. Power Slash, no changes. Dark Side, damage increase. Good. Grit. Anticipation. Okay. Grit, no changes there. Oh, so now they made freaking blood price freaking grit use only. What type of bullshit is this? Are you serious? So now they freaking made blood price an actual freaking stance requirement. I hated that with blood weapon. And now they're putting it on my blood price. Alright, so Soul Eater's potency has actually been increased to 280, so now it actually stands with all the rest of the freaking second tier tank moves. Combo potency. Oh, Dark Arts combo potency is 420. Alright, that's actually quite considerable, to be honest. It's pretty good. And Dark Passenger. Why would you decrease the potency of the Dark Arts effect on freaking Dark Passenger? No, there has to be a specific reason as to why you would decrease it. I mean, it's already enough that the thing costs a lot. You have to give me a reason as to why in the world you would, like, lower it. There's nothing, there's no change to... There's no increase on the blind. Dark Arts fades upon execution. That's still there. I see no difference. So what the fuck? Our Dark Passenger has been nerfed now. Nothing has been changed for Dark Mind. That is still a ridiculous freaking recast. I wonder what the new Delirium even looks like. Because the fact that they removed Delirium in itself and is naming a new skill Delirium, I better not see the same animation for it. And I'm pretty sure that they did not do that because they would not go so low as to do that in order to give us a new skill. That would be completely pointless. Nothing changed here for Abyssal Drain. Nothing changed for Soul Survivor. Carve and Spit, most likely the same. Black Blood. Accumulation upon execution of certain actions. Okay. Delirium. Let's take a look-see here. Restores MP. So it's not an attack. Additional effect. Extends blood weapon and... extends blood weapon and blood weapon effects by 8 seconds, 16 seconds respectively. So pretty much it extends the time and then it extends the effect. I'm confused. I'm not really gonna go back to try and figure out what that actually means. Then we got Quietus. This is our AoE. It deals a potency of 160. Dark Arts potency is 210. That blood gauge cost, though, is very expensive. You would mostly want to use dark arts for these skills that cost up to 50, because just using it normally would be completely pointless. Allows for blood gauge accumulation while under the effect of blood weapon or blood price. Okay, so apparently when getting the 62, you will not be able to gain any of your blood gauge from blood weapon or blood price. But exactly how would you accumulate it again? Because that's kind of confusing. I'm gonna have to look back on that. Then Blood Splitter. This, if I remember correctly, is our attack. This is that badass looking freaking flip attack that is essentially our new Carve and Spit. Delivers an attack with a potency of 380. Not really all that significant, but let's look at the other numbers. Dark Arts potency is 520. That is ridiculous. Grip potency is 470. That's fine. Dark Arts plus grip potency is 650. What the fuck? Okay, so how would that even work? Because the thing is that kind of puzzles me. Even with the Dark Arts and the grip potency, you would still be dealing less damage with the grit of taking effect, because the side effect of it lowering your DPS is still going to be there regardless. In all honesty, I think that if you were to use Dark Side and then Dark Arts with that 520 potency, you would most likely be dealing a lot more damage in comparison with Dark Arts and the grit plus grit potency. That's how I feel on that. We'll have to take a look and see on the numbers for that, because I get the feeling that the latter would work much more than the former. And then we have the Blackest Night. Oh man, I swear I just cannot for the life of me tell you how strange it is when you realize that Very Merry has essentially just named a move and has just like read the future or something. It's baffling. I am thinking of Very Merry as a reference here from his Dark Knight video right now. Make sure to freaking make sure that your gear is just dyed in pitch black dye, guys. Not pitch black, but I'm completely forgetting about that actual dye color. Let me see here. My overall thoughts. I am on the fence of some aspects that have been changed here. Number one, potencies that have been lowered that does not make any sense. Well, actually, number one is more like my freaking Scourge has been removed, so that is just like something I cannot forgive right now. And then on top of that, the potencies. And then some of the things that just don't make sense to me with this job. I mean, in the long run, it sounds interesting, and then there's of course some of these damage potencies here for the later stuff that kind of makes up for it. But it's like we only get like 2 damaging skills. One is AoE, one is a vertical attack. I don't even that's most likely single target. And I don't even know what Delirium truly even does. It only restores MP. This is literally our MP restoration that pretty much costs our blood gauge. It doesn't do any form of damage. I don't know what the freaking like the actual animation looks like. And then the Blackest Night is essentially our cover that we can place essentially on ourselves. Other than that, that's about it. No significant change here on anything else. And to be honest, I guess that's fine because Dark Knight is considerably it's a fresh job from an old expansion. And the expansion isn't entirely that old. It's only 2 years old, practically almost 3. But that's to be expected. Dark Knight was practically already balanced in its own right now. So all it's been given was other stuff on top of that. Though that still does not mean that I still can't for the life of me figure out why they nerfed some of my other skills as far as the AoE, and then they freaking got rid of my Scourge. I can understand the Fracture, but my Scourge, man, are you serious? Okay, so they're getting rid of dots for the tanks. Alright. Alright, I guess those are pointless for tanks. Huh. Well, we're going to go ahead and transition into Mr. Happy's in-game video. So with that, guys, again, just make sure to go ahead and take a look at Ms. Tech's video, give her a like, and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and take a look at Mr. Happy's. One last video and I can finally go to bed. Alright, guys, let's go ahead and move on with this and take a look, see what Happy has to offer for us. Yeah, that
Hey,
we're going to be
Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the changes coming to Dark Knight in sorry, I saw the red mage jump into frame right there.
Yeah, I hope we don't relive some of my other videos with how this thing keeps on lagging. Please.
Give me a laugh. We're going to be talking about the changes coming to Dark Knight in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion, Stormblood. Now, you're probably wondering, Happy, you did a video like this a couple weeks ago for Live Letter. What's the deal? Well, the footage you're seeing here and the information I'm bringing you is actually from the media tour I recently attended in San Francisco, where I got hands-on time with Stormblood. Now, that being said, I have the watermark on the screen. All of this footage, all the numerical values you might see, anything at all is still subject to change all the way up until June 16th. You'll hear me say this in every single video that's like this. I'm just going to say it because if I don't say it, people are going to assume it's final, and then it's a disaster.
That's not really the problem. It's just the general idea on how some of the things have been lowered.
Because that's a lot easier to just rattle those off.
I know it's not going to be final, but it still gets me.
The combo is mostly the same, but there's been a few additions. You can now Dark Arts Siphon Strike for even
Scourge is still
damage,
removed anyway.
Not for more MP generation, from what I can see. Dark Art still works on Soul Eater, but Soul Eater now also generates Blood Gauge once you reach a certain level. Unleash is the same, Unmend is the same, Darksight is the same, Grit is the same, Dark Passenger, Carven Spit, Soul Survivor, Abyssal Drain, Plunge, Living Dead, Shadow Wall, Dark Arts, and Dark Mind are all the same. So a ton of their abilities are the same. They still have abilities that they had before.
I'm still on the fence with Scourge right now, I swear.
For them to work with the new Blood Gauge. Blood Weapon, for example, mostly the same, but now generates Blood Gauge per auto attack and weapon skill to use full off. You actually see that in the job action trailer, but this is confirmation that that is indeed Blood Weapon that helps generate the Blood Gauge. Blood Price as well also generates 5 blood per hit whenever you're hit while you have it up now. Now, as an added bit, the only trait that Dark Knights had in this sort of development build that I was playing was that Blood Price and Blood Weapon gain blood generation effects at a later level, sometime post 60. The Blood Gauge itself is technically a trait, but the extra generation through Blood Price and Blood Weapon was the only trait that was actually in the trait menu for Dark Knight. And finally, Salted Earth now also generates Blood Gauge per tick. So a big thing with Dark Knight is constantly generating this Blood Gauge. So it's been added on to
okay, I did not actually see that, so that's good. So that's another way that you can generate that gauge.
So what can you spend that Blood Gauge on? Well, you have a few choices, and pretty much all of them cost 50 blood to activate, which is why you see the Blood Gauge start glowing whenever I actually reach 50 blood. So it's very important to keep track of that when you have all these abilities that can use it. The first one is Blackest
Just-
Night, and that is the shield for
Just
the benchmark
think of
trailer.
having an
That can be
actual
used pretty
mob.
frequently, every like 15 seconds or so, at the cost of 50 blood gauge, and it also costs MP. Now, if you use it on yourself, it gives you a shield equal to 20% of your own max HP. So if you have 10,000 HP, you get a 20% shield, it would be a 2%. It would be a 2,000 point shield. On top of that, you can give it to an ally, and it'll be 10% of your max HP, of the Dark Knight's max HP, as opposed to their max HP. So you're a Dark Knight with 10,000 health, and you give a shield to the Samurai. It'll give him a 1,000 point shield. And you can do that fairly frequently if needed.
Nice.
Now, another one of their new skills that uses Blood Gauge is Blood Spiller, and that's actually the last skill from the Job Action trailer, the one where he does it under Grit and Dark Arts. Well, there's a good reason he does it under Grit and Dark Arts. So its potency actually changes depending on whether or not you have Grit and or Dark Arts up. So it has a base potency, it has a Grit potency, it has a Dark Arts potency, and then it has a Grit plus Dark Arts potency. Yeah. In case you're wondering, the highest potency is when Grit and Dark Arts are both active, which is currently, in development still, 650. Now that's almost double the base potency, which is 380, but more importantly, it's 130 more potency than just with Dark Arts alone. Now 20% of the just Dark Arts potency is an extra 104. It's 520 at base for Dark Arts, and then 20% of that is 104. So it's more than 20% more than the Dark Arts alone potency. And that's probably deliberate to make it a good choice while you're still in Grit, if you're trying to do a lot of damage with your blood gauge. But I don't know that the MP cost of going into Grit when you're trying to push out the most DPS with this Blood Spiller ability is going to be worth it, because I'm pretty sure that's going to cost you a Dark Arts. But you know what? I'm not a Dark Knight expert. I probably shouldn't even be talking about this. I'll leave this to the Dark Knight experts, and you can get that info from them. Another
That's
ability
just
you
it.
saw in the Job Action trailer was a
It doesn't even matter about the MP cost. It just matters about overall what amount of damage you're doing in comparison, because you're still inside Grid.
So Delirium had quite some changes. It's now a standalone off-global cooldown ability instead of the final skill in a combo. So the only two combos you have are your Soul Eater combo and your Power Slash combo. Delirium is not a part of that. Also, keep in mind that the int reduction is gone, but generally int and strength
The fact that you
reduction
don't
type
even
skills,
use
other
it
than some of the
baffles
crossroll
me. I
stuff,
wanted to
all
see
those
the
been
animation,
removed.
bro.
Monet no longer reduces strength. Dragon Kick also no longer reduces intelligence, so that part of all the jobs has kind of already been removed. So like I said, Delirium now costs 50 gauge, and it actually restores some MP on use. It also has a bonus effect that will extend the duration of Blood Weapon, helping to get back some of that invested gauge and
man,
provide
that
more uptime
freaking
on
animation
Blood
looks
Weapon's
sick.
effects. So pretty much every skill uses 50 gauge, but Dark Knights generate gauge far more quickly than other jobs. On top of that, there's never a point where they're sacrificing gauge to make a stance change, unlike Warrior and Paladin, where
That's
if they want to
definitely
shield or sword,
good.
they're going to lose half their gauge. Deliverance to Defiance, or vice versa, they're going to lose half their
Though
gauge.
that's kind of
So Dark Knight always has pretty much
understandable
complete
given
control
how
over
most
gauge,
of their
but they don't
actual
generate it quite the
skills
same
cost
way as
half
jobs do. With Soul Eater, Blood Weapon, Blood Price, Salted Earth,
already.
you're going to be popping those very quick to try and get as much gauge as possible. So a lot of Dark Knight abilities, as you can see, whether or not they change, survive sort of the pruning of abilities that happens going into 4.0. But
No.
there are some more changes we need to talk about, mostly in regards to tank
My scourge just didn't survive.
Contributed a couple. So for crossroll skills, tanks have some interesting choices. So Rampart
I
is
can
now
tell you
crossroll,
that.
but Foresight, Shadowskin, and Rampart were removed from their original job. So it's the sole source of a 20% off global cooldown, well, defensive cooldown. Reprisal was also made more into like an Astrologian's Disable, so it's not procced on parry, and again, it is crossroll now. It just reduces the damage that a target deals by 10% for about 5 seconds. So it's really meant to be sort of a, just a quick mitigation of damage, usually for something like a big hit.
Yeah.
Low Blow, which used to be a Dark Knight specific stun, is now a damageless stun in the crossroll. Across the tanks, only Paladin has a stun still on their shield dash.
What was the point in
Warrior
getting
and
rid
Dark
of the
Knight, if they want
damage
to
for
stun, they have to
stuns?
take a Low Blow. Because it doesn't have any potency, you'll really only need to take it if you need a stun. All the tanks got provoked. I think that was pretty much the one that everyone was expecting over everything else. But on top of that, they got a new one called Ultimatum, which is actually an AoE provoke. So I'm curious to see if there's going to be more situations where something like an AoE provoke is needed. Convalescence, also a paladin skill, is now in the crossroll system. Anticipation is there. Anticipation is basically Dark Dance, but it's now crossroll. So if you want that 30% parry, you're going to have to go into the crossroll to get it. A little reminder, parry was removed from gear and is being replaced with the tenacity stat in the expansion. Tenacity will increase the damage that a tank does and decrease the damage that they take, and that stat only applies
That
to
still
and will replace
catches
parry.
me. I know like parry is
So
not
you have a
completely
flat parry
removed, it's only
percentage
been
plus
removed from
how much
off of
dance, I guess, is really the only other way to improve
the
parry.
gear and so on and so forth.
Speaking
But
of
it's like,
things like parry and critical hit and off stats, awareness is also cross roll now. So if you're not fighting enemies that crit,
I don't know how
you'll
to
need
say
awareness. If you're fighting enemies that crit a lot, you'll
if
need
it's
awareness.
gone, then it's
Now,
gone.
on top of getting
you know?
that stun from earlier with low blow, tanks also got a silence option called interject, which is a damageless silence for the tanks. Just as a little bit of a reminder, the silence aspect of Paladin Spirits Within was removed. So again, this is now the sole source
We're not
of
talking
silence
about Paladin in
across all
here,
tanks.
bruh. This is
And the
Dark
final
Knight
ability
video.
is a little bit strange to me, because if you're playing the game right, I don't see a situation in which this next ability is super useful, unless there's just certain fights where it's harder to deal with than others. So the final ability is called Shirk, and it allows tanks to, and I'm just going to read what it says, divert 25% of their enmity to a target party member. So the only place I really imagine doing that is in tank swaps, where you just want to force a tank swap and you don't want to have to deal with any sort of issues that have to do with enmity or where you are in your combos or stuff like that. But generally, players are pretty good at tank swapping now, so I imagine that if Shirk is taken, it's likely going to be more for a max type of thing, where yes, you could just sort of
do believe you want to go ahead and reiterate that, because I highly doubt that.
Just to meet the tank swap, you'd have Shirk as an option to just keep flowing along with the battle. So what I
actually have a prime example here. Freaking Jesse would like to have a word with you.
Which is probably deliberate with how hard it shut out Paladin. Although now Paladin has insane magic defense, magic,
especially Drac.
We'll see how that actually pans out.
But mostly Jesse.
Dark Mind, like I said earlier, but for the most part, it appears to be the highest damage output of the three tanks. It has a lot of very insane potencies. The constant use of Dark Arts leads to much higher damage output, and you have so many off-global cooldown options and constant damage increases through things like Dark Side, and if you're an experienced Dark Knight, the ability to frequently use Blood Weapon, that if all the numbers work out, Dark Knight might just be, a good defensive tank, but it's just like seriously high damage output compared to the rest. They have also the most maintenance. They now have to manage TP, MP, and the blood gauge, so it might also become a little more difficult. I don't know that this is necessarily going to raise the skill floor like they were planning. I do feel like it's not going to lower the skill ceiling.
I can say for one thing that there will be quite a good deal of focuses
expansion, Stormblood. Be on the lookout for
on
all the other videos
the Dark Knight,
to be rapid succession here. Now that we're finally out of the embargo. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share.
But we'll just have to see.
Information, news, guides, all that good stuff. Until next time, everyone, take care.
Alright, thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Happy, and thank you for the actual gameplay, where we got to have a good look on some of the animations of the new skills, though it's kind of disappointing that you didn't actually use Delirium in this gameplay. Would have been nice, but my overall thoughts, I think other than the Paladin, the Warrior and the Dark Knight are pretty much the two out of the tanking role. I'm going to have to wait and see before I can generally put my thoughts into play here. I would need to get my hands onto them first, because it's more like Warrior's the one I truly need to get my hands on first, but Dark Knight I can generally have a good idea of what I think about it. Other than the fact that they did quite the considerable amount of changes. And with the blood gauge, there is quite some uniqueness to it. I mean, shit, the very fact that it does not have the gauge when you stance, so that you have some form of freedom there, that you can stance regardless, but you will still have to look out for your MP. That is still there. Also, I did notice that Darkseid no longer ticks whenever you're actually in Darkseid. That actually interested me. I can't believe I did not see the effect of Darkseid. I was wondering whether or not if it changed, because that is actually a significant change in its own right there. Whether if it actually, you know what? Let me take a look. See here.
Age far more quickly than other jobs. On top of that, there's never a point where they're sacrificing gauge to make a stance change. Unlike Warrior and Paladin, where if they want to go from shield to sword, they're going to lose half their gauge. Deliver.
That thing is not ticking. Well,
or vice versa, they're going to lose half their gauge.
Holy shit. Freaking Darkseid no longer ticks. Okay. Oh, okay. Alright. Forget every single thing that I just fucking said, because that is beautiful. Okay. So now I see what they're doing here. Darkseid no longer ticks anymore. However, it still costs MP in order for you to actually activate a Grit and Darkseid. So you still need to watch out for that. I can only figure that gaining MP will kind of sort of be a little bit slow. Actually, no, I don't really think that would be the case. More like one thing that I believe they would most likely do, given how it's like that, is that when you expend MP, the MP recovery is a lot slower in comparison. Because that would make a lot more sense if they did it that way. But I'm not entirely so sure on that. And then that actually makes sense for every single thing else, because you will be essentially using quite a lot of MP if they were to increase the amount of MP for Dark Arts. Then that's one other thing as to why they would get rid of the decreasing, or pretty much the overtime of your MP reduction happening while you're in battle with Darkseid. But that's nice. Okay, so you are able to pretty much stay in Darkseid without any worries of it just decreasing overall in battle. I like that. I like that. I have no qualms with that at all. It's actually going to be pretty interesting when it comes to leveling. So I will definitely be looking forward to that. So other than that, that's generally my thoughts. I have kind of a little bit of a change of heart, but at the same time, I'm still speculative onto what I see here. We'll just have to wait and see when the game releases. Other than that, guys, this is pretty much the last video for the night. I'm going to go ahead and turn in, and then we are going to be looking at some of the healers and their changes, which I cannot wait for, because we are going to be looking at White Mage first. Yay! I'm not exactly excited for the changes of the White Mage. But, hey, what can you do? Just want to go ahead and iterate again that links in the description, guys. Make sure to go ahead and give them a like. Take a look at their content. Can not stress enough on the fact that they have went out of their way in giving us this content, and I love every single bit of it, because if it wasn't for that, I would just be like oh so withdrawn with any other further information after the live letter. I was just like, I can't wait for the release, and so and pretty much all of that nonsense. Yeah. But with that, guys, you have a very nice day, nice night, nice morning, nice afternoon, all of that nonsense. And other than that,